Welcome back, class. On today's episode, we discuss Netflix boxing, Disney basketball, some movie bombs, and the future of Star Wars and Marvel. All this and more in a streaming sports and Marvel's most important year episode of the Fandalorians. Teachers by day, nerds by night. That is the bell. Class is in session. Welcome to the Fandalorians. Teachers by day, nerds by night. We are the podcast. It is the #1 pop culture podcast by public school teachers. Every week we bring you the latest in entertainment news, reviews, lively debates, all with a fun teacher theme. As a proud member of the Unfiltered Studios podcast network, we mix lifelong friendship with plenty of banter, good-natured trash talk all throughout the show. If you need to contact us, you can text us at 631-494-3632, or you can send us an email at thefandaloriansmailbag@gmail.com. My name is Mr. McDonald, the man who has a bone to pick with Mr. G.
With me?
I love the heat. Right now.
Yeah. So it turns out, I'm talking to my wife last night, and she said, Mr. G recommended a movie. Apparently, the conversation was, there's not enough Thanksgiving movies. So Mr. G recommended a Thanksgiving movie. It was a Netflix movie, but it's very similar of the kind of Hallmark vein. And Charlie, what was the name of the movie?
It was actually Amazon Prime.
Oh, it was Amazon Prime. Same thing. So the movie is called A Funny Thing About Love. And Charlie, that movie was awful.
What? That was not an awful movie. You got to be kidding me.
The very first scene, I'm watching it, and I'm like, I have seen better acting in high school musicals.
Okay, I need the name again so I can write this down to watch it, because I need to, what is this called?
That is a typical Hallmark movie. They're never going to be Oscar-winning events. They all look and feel as corny and cheesy as that.
I guess you're right, but I'm just watching this and I'm like, I am laughing not at the jokes part. I am laughing at like the serious parts, and I'm just like, this is not good. Oh, and so halfway we were about
he broke his leg.
Yeah, we were about 2/3 the way through the movie, and Lauren's like, do we want to finish this later? And I'm like, if we stop this movie, we're never going to finish it.
No.
It was like, do we want to delete our Netflix account?
Right. So the premise of the story, for those who haven't seen it, which apparently is many, but for those who haven't seen it, is there's this, working woman. She's got a very successful business and some sort of clothing
line.
Yeah, and she's got her boyfriend is a lawyer, and she's coming home to visit her parents at some small town. I forget which one. I think it's like Illinois or whatever.
No, it's whatever it is, small town.
Yeah, small town. But anyway, so they get home, and of course, the ex-boyfriend is invited by the family because he has nowhere else to go for Thanksgiving.
But the ex-boyfriend is the brother of this.
The sister-in-law. Yeah. So it is a wild little, you're like, I get it, but I'm just like, I know where this is going immediately. And the only thing I was hoping for is I was hoping at the very end that there'd be some sort of twist, but there is no twist. It just goes exactly like you think it is.
But Pat, you could not laugh at what's the actor that plays
Napoleon Dynamite?
Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, he is the actress's brother. And it's funny, it's John Heder is Napoleon Dynamite. He's the only guy I recognized.
Oh yeah.
And in this movie, he's like the 5th lead. And I'm like, Jesus.
but he's got a credit in the production and whatever.
Okay.
But
Charlie,
did you
that was
watch
not
the end credit? The end credit scene with Chitara?
yeah, there was a post-credit scene.
Yes.
Oh man, see now I have to watch it again. Apparently, co-teaching with me is Mr. Richardson, who refused to write anything down for today and deleted what I was going to say.
What you put down for me? My daughter just trashed our last episode, which was funny. But I wanted to mention that I've lost my voice again, which is really my issue because I can't talk. It's scratchy. I keep coughing. I'm going to push through. I'm going to fight through. But daughter Hayden, I picked her up and she just trashed our podcast. Let me clarify. I was terrible. McDonald was fire. Mr. G has his stuff together. Daddy, you're trash. You're not talking enough. Your points are terrible. Are you even on the show? That's what the exact critique from my 19-year-old daughter was.
In Hayden's defense, I say the same thing constantly, Mr. Richardson.
Thank you.
My other co-teacher with me is the man who's probably read something or listened to something book. So, Mr. G, tell us what you've been reading / listening to.
I've been listening to a surprise that came out of nowhere, and it was literally, I don't even know where I heard it or saw it, but it was Growing Up Urkel, the Jaleel White memoir. And for some reason, I was like, I want to listen to that. I think I maybe heard like a little snippet of them talking about it. So I'm like halfway through the book. I can't wait to finish it. It's so interesting. He just talks about, obviously, being Steve Urkel and the show Family Matters and the business end of a lot of it growing up as a child actor. And the one thing I thought was really crazy about it is that he was 13 when he started it, and Eddie Winslow is only a couple of months older than him in real life.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
so
funny.
like Eddie Winslow might have been 14 when the show started, if that. And they're like, like completely different people. And that was the one thing he kind of talked about, like him getting this role and how he was so short and scrawny and stuff like that. Super interesting. He talks a lot about the business and from his perspective and all that stuff. It's pretty good. I like it a lot. I was surprised. And now I've been on the binge of watching Family Matters. I've gone through like 6 episodes already.
Because now you look at it through a different lens.
Exactly.
I saw
Now
him
I'm
on a
watching all of his performances. Yeah, he was going on. And the funny thing is he was trash talking the little girl, the sister, the younger sister.
the one who vanished.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
he
they
talked about her in a bunch of spots too.
yeah, because she basically her mom was always talking smack about Jaleel having more screen time and lines and episodes and things like that. And then he went on to say that she didn't know how to write because she would like autograph stuff and like purposely autograph it really big so it wouldn't leave any space for him. And then they like, why is her handwriting so bad? And it got into a whole thing with like the kids and the tutoring and the school stuff. And it's pretty interesting so far. I can't wait to finish it.
They went crazy with it too because apparently she was bad acting
Yeah.
and no one got laughs. And then at one point they were like, "Why is she on the show?" And they just said, "Let's just get rid of her." And she was gone, and he went full time. Yeah, I want to read it too, and I reached out to see if he'd come on the podcast, but there was no response. But I tried. I'm like, you know what? We're teachers. Maybe he'll
Yeah,
show
You
up.
never know.
You never know.
Never know, McDonald.
So we have lots to talk about today. So we're going to get started with the morning announcements.
Fandalorian fans, won't you lend me an ear? I hope this podcast sound is crystal clear. Now listen up, people, I got something to say. These are the morning announcements for today.
All right. So today we're going to start off by talking about the playground fight of the century of the week. We're going to talk about Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, the most hyped fight probably in the 21st century.
Tyson requested the 2-minute rounds, wanting to see more action. He just landed the overhand right, testing the beard of Paul early.
And so let's talk about it. Now, Netflix reported 108 million global viewers for last week's Tyson-Paul boxing match. This was Super Bowl level ratings. They achieved this without any traditional broadcast partners. There were tons of buffering issues that we'll probably talk about. 56% of US viewers faced loading problems, but it was still called a huge success for Netflix, and it has a huge industry impact throughout the world. Studios are now rethinking their live event strategies. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts about the fight?
Well, we talked about wanting to watch this way back.
When it was supposed to come on.
Exactly. And I was excited to see it. You know, we all talked about how Tyson was going to whoop on him. For everyone out there, we were watching it, kind of texting each other. And like when it was all said and done, I was like, that was lame. Like so disappointing, so not exciting. All of the stuff flooded social media about what a scam and a fake fight that was, in the slow-mo shots of him being like, and right here, he would have knocked him out. Right here, he would have knocked him here. Right here, he was holding back. So, beyond rigged. And I don't understand how they can bet on a live sports anymore.
Betting is such a huge industry now, but I feel like this was more theater than sport.
Yeah.
Because you're right. At least the main fight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give credit to the girl boxing match before this, the undercard. That was probably one of the best fights I've ever seen. It reminded me, one of the things that people talk about with the Rocky movies is what it makes it so unrealistic is they don't put up their guard. They're just throwing haymakers at each other. And everybody's like, that's not what boxing is really like. But I will tell you, I forget the name of the girls who were fighting. I'm sorry, the women. I don't want to be sexist. The women who were fighting before this, and they were just trading haymakers. And I was just like, I cannot believe they're landing every punch. And it was like watching a movie. It was unbelievable.
Anyone betting on this is stupid. I'll just put it out there.
Yeah.
But you know how much money was like?
No, that's a different conversation. But I just think the idea of you bet on Tyson winning, that's what I'll rephrase.
Well,
you bet on Tyson winning, you have to be ridiculous.
Every Gen X guy is like, Tyson's got to win. He's our guy. What we forget is we are close to retirement.
He is not trying his hardest. We knew he wasn't trying his hardest. Like, did we need this? That's the big question. Did we need this? The answer is no. We didn't really need this, honestly. But 108 million people watched, so obviously we did. Almost like what I said last week about the Penguin. Did we need it? Nah. Do we need season 2? Nah, but I bet you people are still going to watch. It's ridiculous. It is what it is. You shouldn't bet on a Paul fight. He's not a real traditional boxer. He has not fought a single actual boxer in his entire career, but he's a YouTuber who's making money. The first person he fought was a YouTuber. The second person he fought was Nate Robinson, a former NBA player.
I remember that.
He knocked out, which got trending, and that's when he became a thing. Then he fought Ben Askren, who's a retired MMA fighter. He's 36 years old, much older than Jake Paul at the time. Tyson Woodley, a former UFC champion, again, not a boxer, beat him. Anderson Silva, MMA fighter who was 47 years old at the time. Tommy Fury, who a reality star and professional boxer, and he lost this match in a split decision. And Nate Diaz, who again is another former UFC fighter. And now Mike Tyson. He's fought people who aren't really boxers except for that one in the middle. People still bet on it. People want to see it, but it's a clown show.
It's theater, yeah.
The undercard, the two women who were fighting, that was amazing. They were just grueling and stopping the fight. And the buffering is the buffering. People still watch. I'm curious to see if they got any new subscribers. Not that
I'm curious to see the stats because do you know that Netflix has an NFL game for Christmas? So I'm sure the NFL was like, fix that buffering issue.
Oh yes. I did not have any issues. At one point, I was looking and I was watching, and I thought it was like weird because like the boxers themselves were like kind of pixelated, but everything else around them was perfectly fine. And I was like, oh, maybe it was my TV, so I just pushed the the Wi-Fi to prioritize that TV.
I had tons of buffering issue.
Really?
It would buffer and hold the spot. It'd say 55 and just spin. So I had to go out of the app, go back into the app. It'll go for about 5 minutes, out of the app, back into the app.
Yep, I did the same thing.
The entire women's fight. And then through the main fight, it kind of fixed once the good one started. Oh, good one. The main event. Maybe a minute in, it kind of stopped doing it, but it was completely bad during it. But I'm sure they'll fix it before.
You don't think Tyson could have beat Jake Paul?
Guaranteed.
Jimmy?
I remember he's 58 years old.
He was going to knock him out in the first round.
No, Tyson could have knocked him out if he wanted.
In the first round, he would have knocked him out.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of
no.
there.
You saw
Yeah.
the guy who has been sparring on ESPN for weeks is not the dude who got in that match.
No,
he would have killed him.
In the first round, he would have knocked him out.
Well,
I believe the fix was in. I completely believe the fix.
There was no incentive for him to knock him out.
No, actually, it was against it because he had to go 4 rounds, no uppercuts. Yeah, and so for him, it was just to get paid out.
Isn't it funny how all these rules came out afterwards?
Well,
it's not funny. It's no gambling.
The whole gambling thing, like that's what I don't understand. I don't understand how it's legal, like
because they're saying it's a real fight. So,
well, Charlie, what you have to remember as well is there was gambling on who was going to end up being the king and the series finale of Game of Thrones. You can gamble on anything.
You can gamble on who the order of the wrestlers in the WWE for the Royal Rumble. And that's completely scripted, but you can go on to one of these apps. I've seen it. And like, CM Punk's going to come out third and put money on it. It's crazy because it's scripted. So it's weird. It's crazy.
So let's shift from one sporting event to another big sporting event happening this holiday season, the NBA's Christmas Day game. Now, the NBA has always had games on Christmas, but they're trying something new this year. The Knicks Spurs, they're having a Disney alt-cast. So the Knicks and the Spurs are going to play a game with a Disney theme alternate broadcast. It's going to have a unique twist added to the game presentation. They're going to digitally recreate the game, kind of like they did a couple of years ago with that Toy Story football game. I remember we were talking about that on a previous podcast. Now, the real question is, why are they doing this? Well, it's designed for families and younger viewers to kind of celebrate the holiday. It is available alongside the standard broadcast. So the regular games are going to be on ESPN. The alternate cast is going to be on ESPN2, Disney Plus, and then there's going to be Disney characters. So I did a little digging I wanted to talk about. So this is one of the things that they're going to do. They're going to have the game's going to be set on Main Street, USA in Magic Kingdom Park as the teams play while Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Pluto, Goofy, Chip, and Dale cheer them on. There's going to be all kinds of Magic Kingdom Park things there. They're going to have Santa and his elves controlling the overhead cams. They're really just going all out. The Disney characters are going to deliver pregame and halftime speeches to the players. And it's going to just be something I think they're really going to go hard for. So, gentlemen, what are your thoughts on this idea?
That sounds funny. Them doing the halftime thing is already making me laugh in my head. I thought that was cute. Santa involved. I want to know who else is going to show up. Probably just stick to main Disney. There won't be any Deadpool. But doing this on Christmas Day when it's kids in the room and they're going to watch it and it's cute, it's a running show. It sounds like fun. I think it'll be fun. The Toy Story one was good. And I almost see, it was Toy Story, right? That ran that football game, right? Yeah, because Stretch was like the 10-yard line, everything.
Yes.
So they're back in business. They know what went wrong last time and they're just doing it again. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Kids are going to want to watch it, and maybe people won't switch to Netflix right away to watch the football game because kids are going to watch the Disney version, even though most people have more than one device in their house that can watch this, so that's probably dumb. I don't know, Charlie. What's up with you? You're Mr. Animation.
I'm not going to watch this. But to me, it's just like, you see the reports about how viewership in the NBA is declining, popularity of NBA is declining. So this is just like, hey, how can we get new kids in? So this is just, marketing. Just marketing. That's all it is.
I mean, they put this in place before the ratings went down. They shoot too many threes.
The ratings have been going down
No. This year's the worst. It hasn't been the drop off this year is incredible. But it's because the 3-point shooting is now up to 50% a game, 45% versus 22% like 2 years ago.
I don't think that's it, Jimmy. I
think
think
it's just completely boring to watch now.
well, no, we are comparing November basketball. So the best way I like to think of it is every year that I teach, I get the kids in September and I'm like, they're not as smart as last year's class. And do you know why? Because I'm comparing the kids in September to the kids that I trained in June when they were firing on all pistons. And I think that's also, we're comparing November ratings right now to June ratings.
That's not what we're doing. If you look at the ratings from last November to this November, that significant drop off exists.
Okay.
I think it's the fact that it's mostly the 2-man game, 3-point shoot, 3-point shot. It's more of that.
Well, we're going inside basketball here, Mr. Richardson.
That's real. You watch it, it's not the same. College looks more fun to watch than NBA right now.
I also just think it's the way that kids digest sports now. I mean, the next generation, like my boys love baseball. They love basketball. They have yet to sit down and watch an entire basketball game on TV. Do you know how they watch a baseball or a basketball game? They watch it on the highlights, especially for like baseball, because there's so much downtime. You can watch an entire game in about 14 minutes. And so they watch it on YouTube. They watch it on, that's how they digest it. So I would say popularity of basketball is not going down. I just think we're not traditionally watching basketball anymore.
Could be. I have no clue. All I know is that I think it's just a gimmick ploy. They have the NFL has that whole tie with Nickelodeon where they do that slime time and stuff, and they had that, and that was actually kind of entertaining.
They did a playoff game like that.
Yeah. So, if it's something that's going to be entertaining that way, I think, but I don't know. I thought the whole football game that was redone was kind of silly, but.
Well, look, I'm going to support the NBA. I'm going to watch it. Now, speaking of support, let's talk about how you guys can support the show.
I saw what you did there, and that was great.
See,
what you did there, that was great.
That's going to be my New Year's resolution, is to work on my transitions. Jimmy, you're really good at it, and now I'm just going to be like, all right, I got this. So, speaking of supporting the show, you can support the show by going over to TeePublic and grabbing the cool merch that's there: shirts, hoodies, hats. Every purchase that you make helps fund Laney's Legacy of Hope, a nonprofit organization that supports family dealing with pediatric cancer. 100% of our proceeds go straight to the cause. You can learn more at laneyslegacy.org. Now, if you're on Long Island, stop by Red Shirt Comics in Port Jeff Village. Tell Mr. Darby the Fandalorians sent you, and he will give you the secret handshake. Spoiler alert, it involves 11 fingers.
The 6-figure man is all set.
He's going to be like, someone's going to come over with 11 fingers. He's going to be like, I don't know what to do with these.
Yeah, right.
Now, no matter where you are, though, in all seriousness, don't forget to support your local comic book shops. The NBA games are always intense in the holidays, but 2025 is shaping up to be super intense for Star Wars. There is a brand new trilogy in the works with Simon Kinberg along with Kathleen Kennedy. It's in development. Simon Kinberg, who is famous for the X-Men movies and The Martian, is joining forces with Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy. Details about the storyline, the character, and the timeline are super secret. They're under wraps. Let's talk about Kinberg's role. He's expected to bring his blockbuster storytelling expertise to the galaxy far, far away with Kennedy's leadership, which is sometimes under question as she continues to guide the future of the Star Wars franchise. Fans are very eager to see how this trilogy expands the Star Wars universe. So, guys, do we need this?
I mean...
Need what?
Do we need a new trilogy?
Yes, we need a new trilogy, or we need something Star Wars related. They own the property. They're not going to sit on it, right? So,
of course.
Am I going to watch it? Probably. Am I looking forward to this at all? No, because the TV shows they've done have been terrible. I didn't like the last set of movies. The last Star Wars related thing I actually enjoyed was probably Mandalorian season 2, which I think came out, or Andor season 1, whatever one came out last, that would be the last one. I don't remember the timeline with those. But since then, it's been one miss after another for me. One thing I haven't enjoyed after another. People involved. I thought Ahsoka would be great. No on-ramp, very confusing. Like, it just hasn't been a great run for me. So am I excited that the person who has guided Star Wars through the last failures, in my opinion, is also part of this? No. I'm not at all. I'll watch it. Of course I'll watch it. Whether we do this or not, I'll watch it. But am I remotely interested in this? Not really. Charlie, what about you? Excitement?
I'm not going to hate on it. I can't hate on something that before it even comes out with any details. It's just one of those things. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to be excited for it, and there might be something I like about it, or there's not going to be something I don't like about it. I don't know. Not everything can be a winner, but I'm going to at least give it a shot before I give it the definitive thumbs down to it.
Everything's been terrible for a while. That's why it's just I'm not. I've
enjoyed a lot of these things that you haven't. So maybe that's
what have you enjoyed recently?
I enjoyed Ahsoka for for most of the series. I thought it was fine. Well, I enjoyed Andor. I didn't hate the girl that just got killed.
The Acolyte?
I didn't hate the Acolyte.
Yeah, that's fine.
I did not like Obi-Wan Kenobi. But I said I wasn't going to like that, and it turned out I didn't like that. So, the new movie coming out, the new show coming out in a couple of weeks, that looks pretty. Skeleton Crew, that looks like it's got something that I'm going to enjoy. So, not the Mandalorian. Yeah, that last season of Mandalorian that came out, that wasn't terrible either. Boba Fett, very lackluster. Not everything could be a winner, but I enjoyed what I've seen, and they put it out, and I'll watch it.
I don't believe anything that the producers of Star Wars ever say. How many trilogies have gone into production? Into development at Star Wars and never saw the light of the day. So you had the one by the director from Wonder Woman. She was supposed to do the Rogue Squadron. I don't know what happened to that. You had the one, the trilogy that was supposed to be by Kevin Feige. Poof, just disappeared. What about the trilogy that's the new ones with Rey? Nobody's talking about that either. So we don't even know if this is going to happen yet. Simon Kinberg, the X-Men movies were very uneven. There were some stinker X-Men movies as well. But I'm going to agree with Mr. Richardson here that give me something completely and totally different. Give me something I haven't seen before, because it's time to start. Even Yogi agrees.
Yogi's back. Yogi's always on my team.
It's time for Star Wars to figure out, do we just like the Skywalkers and those main characters, or do we like the Force? Because every time they get a little too far away from the Skywalkers, they're like, let's bring it back. So now let's go nuts. I think Timothy Zahn. He's told some of the best Star Wars stories ever.
I think the problem is executives. It's all about executives. It's all about profit. It's all about the bottom line. And they're afraid to do anything different because it's all about the money and their potential money and marketing and licensing and toys and this and that. It's the business, I think, really what kind of holds it all back.
No, man. But if you have a terrible idea, like, again, I didn't like The Last Jedi. It was bombed. And then you do something like that and it doesn't go well, then you have to rein it in a little bit. Or they hold them back from doing things. I wish we could be behind the scenes and know what was supposed to happen. I got pulled away last minute. If they go 100 years in the future and you show me new Jedis and maybe the Jedi Order's back and maybe the Sith decides to go away from this one, just a teacher and a master versus let's just get an army. Let's not play games anymore. So it's like 10v10 out there on the field. That would be completely interesting. I'd love to see that instead of a bunch of Jedi fighting robots to get to the one big boss and maybe his little apprentice.
Yeah, I mean, look, Star Wars tells the same story over and over and over and over and over again. And that's the problem. It's been kind of a one-trick pony. What I think what they should do is borrow a page from peak Marvel. When they're playing their game right, they take their movies and they fit it into a genre. Like Ant-Man is a heist movie, and Captain America is a throwback kind of war movie. And that's kind of what Star Wars has to do. The best Star Wars movie in the 21st century was Rogue One, because it wasn't a Star Wars movie. It was a war movie that happened to take place in Star Wars.
It's the equivalent of, for me with them, and I was thinking about what Charlie said about, going into a negative. Why am I negative? It's kind of like, from my analogy, would be when you work with someone who always, no matter what, does something bad or messes something up, and it's just, this person is locked into this is not going to work out. And every single time you get your hopes up, for the most part, it doesn't seem to work out. Now, a couple things I have liked in the movie realm, if we're sticking to movies, because we started naming things, and a lot of stuff we named was actually on, Disney Plus. That's a little bit different.
Those are what's recent in Star Wars.
Yeah, but it's a show run kind of show, which is a little bit different. You have more room. Actually going to a theater for a Star Wars thing, it's been a long time. Like 10, 20 years, almost 100 years since I've been in the theater watching. Rogue One in theater was the last one I really truly enjoyed a lot.
All right. Speaking of Hollywood never learning from their own mistakes, let's talk about something new. So Hollywood loves nostalgia, and the Star Wars trilogy is counting on them as a known brand to bring in some money. But that doesn't always work, especially when the well-known brand happens to be Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So he had a movie in theaters this week, Red One, and it didn't do so well in the box office. Now, the plot of Red One is Santa gets kidnapped, and The Rock with Chris Evans have to go after him. It had a budget of $250 million, and it made $90 million. What does this mean for The Rock, and what does this mean for Hollywood in general? Gentlemen, pick one.
I think this is going to be the cool down period for The Rock, or a reality check in terms of movie making. He's got to do some inner soul searching, and I think
he's had lots of reality checks. I mean,
yeah, but
Black Adam bombed. What was the one with the Rampage bombed?
But he was still getting hired.
Yeah,
right.
There's no reality check if you're still getting hired. You're still getting that paycheck.
Still paying him this full amount, this crazy amount. I'm not sure they're willing to lay that out anymore.
I think he's going to end up being more like a Jack Black, where it's going to be every time. And we've had this discussion about the type of, like, not typecasting, but it's like when you see that actor, you know what you're going to get, and you're not going to get anything different. A lot of what Jack Black has been doing lately is just voice work, voice acting, cartoons. You're going to see The Rock being a voice actor, I think, a little bit more. And anytime he appears in any movie, it's going to be the same character. It's going to be The Rock.
They're not opening the books and paying ridiculous amount of money for any of his films anymore. That's it. Everyone's tightening the purse strings a little bit. This is a clear sign of it, because I did some digging. So the movie called $250 million to make, like he said, $90 million. $50 million of the cost of the film went to The Rock. So he made $50 million off of this himself. That can't happen. And then I started digging into Wicked because I was curious. Wicked is out as of now. Wicked costs $145 million to make, and the main cast salaries didn't get over $20 million for everyone involved. They kept it under 20. And currently, as of right now, when we're recording this, which is November 23rd, so we're on the Saturday night. It's going to be out tomorrow too, obviously. It's made $118 million. So it's basically going to cover its money by Tuesday. It's going into a holiday week. They're making tons of money, and they made it on a great budget. And it appears to be, because I looked into what the budget was used for Wicked. Haven't seen it yet. I know, Mr. G, you're excited to go. My daughter's
I've been looking to go. My biggest fear is I've been seeing all these TikToks about kids going in and singing because it's a musical. And
they have these big giant signs that say, "Please don't sing."
Yeah, because I don't want to hear these kids sing off key. I'm going to pay to see these Ariana Grande and Cynthia how do you say her name? Cynthia Aviro. She plays Elphaba.
Iviro, right?
Iviro. Yeah, so I'm going to listen to Ariana Grande and Cynthia Aviro sing. I don't want to hear these Glee Club kids singing.
But they spend this money on the sets, the wardrobe. That was great. We're at the point where we have to stop paying actors based on their level of talent, based on their talent instead of their ego. Because his ego is getting him, I need the big check. I need the big check. You're wasting money here because you're never getting the call back on some of these things, especially his stuff. Let's just say, especially his stuff.
Well, Mr. Richardson, I'm going to agree with you there, and I'm going to take it a little bit further. I'm going to give you my scorching hot take. Are you ready?
Oh my God, I'm ready. I'm so excited.
Brace yourselves. Hold your
According to
socks.
Hayes, I have to argue with whatever you say next. Let's
Hold
go.
your socks because I may blow them off, okay? The era of the movie star is dead. That's it.
Go ahead,
This
Joe.
is a hard one because we've had this argument about actors versus movie stars, but it's all about. I think it's tough because it's what are people willing to pay for, and the whole movie executive and the whole like glamorization and the whole like enamored of stars and People magazine and things like that. Like, I don't know, is that a big thing anymore?
I don't.
Wait, did you
think
just
so.
mention magazines? Because magazines
No,
are
but
not
that
big.
whole like celebrity tabloid, that was the word I was looking
Yeah.
for. Is that like a thing? Is that because
Yes,
I don't know.
For the young people, it's not for us, but for young people knowing what their favorite celebrities are doing, it's still a thing. Just the celebrities that are our age, no one cares about, unless they're in trouble. But the celebrities around the age of our daughters, possibly, or our sons, they more follow along with that, with the TikToks and the videos and things like that. But I agree with him. It's the brand and the
Wait, can you
media.
repeat that one more time?
No, I agree. I agree with you.
Oh, it
'Cause
just, it just feels so good.
before.
Oh, I love it.
I'm the one who was saying that, The Rock's not really a movie star because you're right. Those things are over. Like, it's not nobody's name. I can't think of anyone's name that gets people into theaters.
Well, it's the
Direct-
easiest way to save money on a movie. If you know your movie's good, don't waste it on paying $30 million to The Rock when you can get Dave Bautista to do that for a fifth of the price.
The movie stars aren't dead. I won't say it that way. I'll say the acting movie stars are gone, but the producers and the directors, that movie star umbrella is still strong. When you see Spielberg, it makes people take a second look. When you see Scorsese, whether we like it or not, people still think about it. When we think about what's his name, who just said he announced the film and everyone's rushing to buy
the guy
tickets?
from Inception, Nolan, Chris Nolan.
He is like the guy.
He's the closest thing we have to a movie star.
Because his name comes before the title. There's some directors whose name a production by their name is coming before the title. There's about 3 of them left. That is the movie star now, the director or the producer. It's not. You got
Chris Nolan. You got the Russo brothers. Still James Cameron.
I would take Scorsese off that list. I just said it, but you're right.
Yeah, Scorsese's not there anymore.
No,
I mean, but even Spielberg, the bloom's off the rose. People don't see it. Blank check. New Spielberg movie. I have to see it.
James Cameron still can get certain things done because he's still making money, even though I'm not a fan of some of it.
Right.
But I think it's just those names now that are the movie stars. It's no longer giving The Rock 50 million.
Well, I mean, movies are still making money. I think we're learning how to spend movie money when making a movie just smarter.
I don't know. There's so much
good actors. There's lots of
content. I think that's the problem. Is they're just
that's true.
you're fighting for content and like whatever.
Well,
The Rock,
Charlie, I'm going to agree with you there. It's different with streaming television because streaming television, you will watch something for who's on it. Because I notice my wife does this all the time because she's like, "Oh, I watched something with blank," because I was like, "Oh, I liked them." It's like she in a small thing. She just saw the new Kristen Bell Netflix show because she likes Kristen Bell. So I think that still works on streaming.
No,
I just don't think it works on movies anymore.
No, but Charlie's point is really valid in the fact that the red one, whether it had done a lot of money or not, will be in your home relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Wicked will probably be available by maybe end of January to watch it.
I think they're gonna do with Wicked like they did with Oppenheimer, and they're gonna keep it off streaming to bump up those. If you got to watch it, you got to see it in the theater. People are already seeing it.
There's like movies that are literally like in and out of the theater, and I'm
like a month,
and it's just like I didn't even get a chance to go see it. Like
Fall Guy.
I have no sense of urgency to go see a movie. Now, like you're saying, Mr. Richardson, the idea of being like, oh, whatever, I didn't get to go see it. I'm gonna see it in a month and a half anyway. I can wait.
Unless it's an event. The Wicked feels like an event.
I think it's just
something that you don't want to get spoiled.
Barbie was an event. Oppenheimer was an event. Now, it's not getting you out of the house, not getting you out of the house. You're not generally a movie person in general. But there are some event films that show up where people go, all right, I got to see this because I don't want to get it spoiled. But
All right.
not many things fall into that category anymore.
Speaking of event movies, let's talk about some Marvel event movies, at least movies they want to be event movies. So let's talk about 2025 Marvel. Now, Marvel is putting a lot of eggs in their basket for next year, 2025. Here's a list of all the Marvels and films slated for release in 2025. Mr. Richardson, I like how you wrote films instead of movies. It makes you look fancier. For movies, they've got Thunderbolts, which the trailer has come out. They've got Captain America, which the trailer's already been out. Thunderbolts comes out in May. Captain America comes out in February. And then I think their tentpole movie this year is Fantastic Four: First Steps. That's going to be July 25th, 2025. That is very important. Now, the Disney Plus TV shows. Daredevil Born Again in March, Ironheart in June, Eyes of Wakanda in August 2025, Marvel Zombies in October 3rd, 2025, Wonder Man December 2025. So guys, let's talk about this for a second. How important is it for Marvel to have a good year?
Well, they want to make money, so it's important for any year. But it's looking
Well,
at
I mean, look, all these Disney movies, I mean, all the Marvel movies make money, but how important it is that these movies are good.
Well, I think it's important that the Fantastic Four is good. But I think it's weird for a summer movie. It's coming out end of like midsummer.
Yeah, usually it'd be like May or 4th of July.
Yeah, they move it off of Superman, which I think comes out July 11th.
Oh,
They're trying to give some
smart
space between Superman and this, which is like the biggest movie of the summer. That's really has to hit, but that's a separate conversation. It's an important year every year. This is their first year where they have a lot of stuff coming out. I thought the last Disney Plus show, Agatha, was great. I thought the idea of them getting showrunners to run the actual shows versus a movie person, which is what they've done in the past, could lead to. Now, Daredevil is going to be great. I know Mr. G, most of this isn't.
I'm literally not going to probably watch any of this. None of it.
No, you will when like 2 episodes in, Mr. Richardson and I go, Charlie, you got to watch.
You've been talking about Agatha all along now. I'm watching Family Matters.
Yeah, he's not. Charlie doesn't do things that
Charlie.
aren't theory, but it's okay. This
and apparently terrible Hallmark movies.
Well, and terrible Amazon Prime movies.
Yeah.
Yes, we're gonna watch that Hallmark movie. You're gonna pick one, and all 3 of us are gonna watch it. You have to pick one for us to watch. I can't wait to do that. Look, Daredevil's gonna be good.
You should watch this Falling in Love one, or whatever it was called. Falling.
No, because you guys already gave me thoughts on it. I don't want to hear that. Give me a new one that we haven't watched.
You're gonna hate watch? Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah, because then I'm already looking. And
there's a ton of them on Netflix. They dropped a whole bunch, so we'll have to.
All right. How about we randomly pick one of those Hallmark-esque Christmas movies on Netflix?
We all pick one together. No, we're all watching.
Yeah, the same one. We'll watch it next Friday or something. I don't know.
Just Charlie, you give us.
I'll pick it. I'll text you.
You can't have seen it already, Charlie. Ask me.
No. I'm not gonna watch it. I'll watch it, but I can't.
We all have to watch it on the same night. Go radio silent.
Oh my God, I can't wait. All right, listen. This back to the actual topic. I'm happy for all this stuff. It's going to be a big year for them. I think Superman's the biggest movie of the summer because that is DC's whole world. And if that falls apart, I think it'll have an effect on this. Trust me, Marvel does not want Superman to fail. They want to get people amped up enough to be like, yo, that was good. Let's check this Fantastic Four out because that's the first Marvel hero versus the first DC hero, which was Superman, Fantastic Four. Captain America is not going to do well because it's coming out on February 14th. Coming out on Valentine's Day is a death sentence.
You think nerds have dates?
We're all married.
Yeah, that means we're not dating.
Will actually see so there are people who have significant others who.
Do you know that the first Black Panther, Jimmy, the first Black Panther movie came out on Valentine's Day?
Yeah, but Black people pulled up for that a lot. I'm just
but
saying,
what about Madam Web too? That was a Valentine's Day drop,
right? And that didn't.
Ooh, there's one for each argument now.
When you make a black,
this is a Black Captain America, Jimmy. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Anyway, I think it's.
You don't know that he's black.
It's important though. It is. Yeah.
And then Red Hulk, he's there for Valentine's Day for love.
You know what?
He's the heart.
He seems to be smashy Hulk though.
Yeah, I know
There's
that's
not any
Charlie's
like
favorite.
jokes. He is smashy Hulk.
Well,
These will all be great because in Captain America: Brave New World, they need to reference the X-Men, which will get people pumped enough to go see the rest of these things. There's going to be a reference. There's going to be something to make you like, oh wait, in Thunderbolts this might happen, and then I'm going to show up. But the question is it important yet? Yeah, it is. This is really important, especially for the movie version.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember, guys, Marvel essentially punted on 2024. They were like, all right, we're going to take kind of the pause. And so, they had Deadpool was the only Marvel movie that really came out that year. And so they were like, all right, we're going to regather and put together some bangers. And so it is very important that these movies hit. Now, will Captain America do okay? It'll be fine. Judging from the first 2 trailers of the Thunderbolts, I think it's going to be fantastic. That's one of the movies I'm most looking forward to. And the Disney Plus shows will be fine. I mean, I treat the Disney Plus shows as like a side dish. I don't order a meal for the side dish, but I enjoy a side dish. The movies have to hit.
Charlie, would you, if there's 2 things you had to watch on here, you had to watch 3 of them. Please don't say you don't want to watch any of them. I can understand. If you had to watch 3 of them and the theater was in your basement, so you don't have to go that far, what 3 things on this list would you watch in no particular order? The theater's in your house.
I don't mind going out to the theater as much. Leo enjoys it, and so it's fun. But Captain America: Brave New World, I would go see that in a theater. If you came back and said the Fantastic Four is amazing, I would go see that. Thunderbolts just looks like a regular action movie, so it doesn't look anything.
But I think it's going to be a fun action movie.
Nah, maybe Wonder Man. Because I happen to be watching on HBO Max the franchise, and it is a satirical take on filming a superhero movie, and it's funny. It makes me laugh, and it's behind the scenes stuff. And so if it has that same kind of feel, I think I might watch that because I'm actually enjoying that.
I am looking forward to the Marvel Zombies, obviously, because I'm a Walking Dead guy, so that's always fun for me. Eyes of Wakanda, history of the Wakandan warriors, may be interesting. I don't know any history of those. That's animated as well. Different type of animation than Marvel Zombies, I heard. But Daredevil was obviously has a place in my heart because that came out of nowhere when it first hit. That it was a realistic, grimy, gritty, like Penguin action show that I thought it would be corny when they were doing it on Netflix. Netflix, not really Marvel. And it did so well that they're bringing it back in this version. It's really dark. It's like a Penguin type thing. So I'm looking forward to it. And they give them 16 episodes. Plenty of times to cook like a real TV show. McDonald, what 3 would you pull up to?
Just for the TV shows?
No, I did the whole thing. That was it over all of them, actually.
Oh, well, I just said, number 1, I'm very much looking forward to the Thunderbolts. I love a good kind of buddy comedy action movie. That's right up my alley. Daredevil Born Again, I'm going to go with Jimmy as well. I think that's going to be super interesting. And yeah, Wonder Man looks, look, make me laugh, make me think, and I'll watch it and I'll love it. Those are for me.
I was going to say, so, Pat put it right there. It's like, to me, when I go to the movies, I want to enjoy myself, have a good time and laugh. And we've talked about this not like of the movie Elf, which blows my mind. But like you talk about the actor of Will Ferrell, but like to me, like when I know Will Ferrell's in a movie, I know what I'm getting. Like I know what I'm gonna get. Now if he turned into a serious movie, I don't want to watch it. So, yeah, that's not what I'm expecting. So for me, these movies are very action-focused kind of movies. I like to enjoy the comedy, and I always have. But, like you said, push comes to shove, I would see Captain America.
Yeah, well, the Elf thing is just, again, I don't like that kind of comedy. So obviously I'm not going to like that film. We've established that. I like the action stuff as well. I do like how Marvel sprinkles in the comedy.
They do a great job doing that.
Just when you sprinkle in too much, I have a problem. It's a healthy mix. I am an action kind of person. I'm an action junkie. I'm not going to lie, but I also like movies that make me think, like Penguin did, a TV show which had some action in it, but it was more cerebral about why people would do things. You know me and characters.
Yeah.
That's why Thunderbolts 2 is it could be a popular one for me, because when you have a bunch of characters that I know from other movies and shows interacting, when they interact together and you know their personalities, it's fun to watch that character interplay, because he's a jerk, he's this, like that first Avengers movie, Thor and them in the same room, and how I knew that kind of thing. So anyway, all this is good. I'll be interested in some of it. It is a big year for them as well. So that is, it looks like the school bus is rolling up. That's right. You looked out the window. I don't have a window that can face the buses. I actually do in my building. It's wonderful. It really is. You're like, oh, look, there's enough buses. Let's walk down. Look, time to pack up. We got to head home. And if you enjoyed today's lesson in pop culture nonsense, be sure to follow us on Instagram at the Fandalorians.podcast, Twitter, Fandalorians Pod, TikTok, the Fandalorians Podcast, email the Fandalorians mailbag at gmail.com. And again, text us 631-494-3632 for Mr. G and Mr. McDonald and Mr. Richardson. Thank you for listening. Catch you next time on the Fandalorians, teachers by day, nerds by night.